Backlash! What's up, Turtle Riders? How's everybody doing tonight? Good? Welcome to the Turtleboy Live Show. I'm your host, Uncle Turtleboy. We are here every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday night at 9 p.m. Recapping the hottest, most important stories of the week, sometimes giving you previews of new ones, whatever. Trust me, you're going to want to be here, so make sure you are smashing that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, go ahead, do me a favor, guys. Go ahead and give me a big old, thumbs up for me at the bottom there. I've heard that matters for the algorithms. I don't know much about it, but that's what the experts tell me, that it's a good thing. So you're going to want to go ahead and do that. So, okay, give me 1 second here to get one other thing I need, the Donos thing. But yeah, I've also shared this link on the various social media pages that we run. The Uncle Turtleboy page. So you need to go ahead and like all these pages if you haven't done so already. We need to get the Turtleboy Sports page up to 20,000. It's at like 19,400, I think, something like that. We got the Uncle Turtleboy page, close it in on 21,000, right? We got the Clarence Woods Emerson page, 26,250. And we got the Twitter accounts at Dr. Turtleboy, which has 9,233 followers. We need to get that up to 10,000, and at Turtleboy Phone, closing in on 4,000 followers. So those are all my social medias. For whatever reason, I'm not going to jinx it, but I'm probably going to jinx it right now. They haven't taken us down in quite some time. They're letting it stay up. I don't know why, but for the first time, they're actually letting us live our life. Maybe Mark Zuckerberg has finally had it up to here with the fucking kooky liberals that want, people kicked off his platform all the time, that, bring him results, bring him people. Maybe he finally figured out this is not a good idea. I need to let these people speak. Everybody wants this stuff. Maybe I should stop giving in to people like Didi Delgado and Monica Cannon Grant and stuff like that. Maybe I should, let people speak freely on the internet. They might be doing that. So go ahead and like those pages if you haven't done so already. Okay. And on top of that, well, we are banned. If you missed join Turtleclub, I was going to do a 1-part thing on like how I single-handedly defeated cancel culture yesterday. It was way too much. So we're having part 2 of it next week. So sign up for Turtleclub as well. You get the exclusive stream on Wednesday nights that only Turtleclub members get. So you're going to want to go ahead and do that. Part of the thing that I talked about last night was how I'm banned from monetization on YouTube because I said the wrong thing about religious exemption committees. I don't understand that, but whatever. I don't make the rules. It's their platform, whatever. So you can't donate and see your little thing come up anymore, but no worries, okay? Because free people give money to whoever the fuck they feel like giving it to. That's how freedom works. Like, they're not just trying to stop me. They're trying to stop you too, because if you want to donate, if you want to give money to the program, you should have that right to. So we created our own super chat. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to go ahead and link in the comments right there. You're going to see a link for something called Turtle Chat. If you click on that, you have the option of donating any amount of money you want, and you can put a little message for it. I will get notifications throughout the show if I get Turtle Chats, and I will bring it up on the big screen, and your message can come up. So you can put whatever message you want in there. Give a shout out to your boy, your dog, your homie, maybe your baby mama owes you cash. I don't know. Who knows? Okay. You're going to want to put it up there. Maybe somebody canceled Halloween in your town. Maybe there's a superintendent you want to call out by name. I don't know. It's your Turtle Chat. You do whatever the heck you feel like doing with it. Okie dokie. So yeah, that's that. All right. Anything else I'm missing here? Cash App. If you want to do the Cash App, I also get notifications on my phone. And you can put any message you want with that. The Cash App is $ Uncle Turtleboy. Is that the real Alina? Is she back? That can't be the real her. I just figured she was dead. Papito. Okie dokie. So, all right, let's jump right into it. So I'm going to have a guest on in a few minutes, but obviously a big day on Tuesday, election day. So this is an off year, obviously. There's no congressional elections, senatorial elections, presidential election. But it's really kind of like the first referendum we're going to have on the Biden administration. And I don't think it's going to go very well for them. I don't know if you guys are following the polls in Virginia, but there is a very heated contest down there. Republicans have not won that state since 2004. Democrats control the governor. They control both, chambers of the state house, the state senate, and the House of Representatives. It used to be a solidly red state, and then it went to swing state. Now it is solidly blue. So they have a former governor named Terry McAuliffe who's running to try to become governor again. You can only run one term at a time in Virginia, but then you can run non-consecutively, which kind of defeats the purpose of it. But he's trying to replace the guy Coon Man there. What's his name? Northam. Not partial birth, like after birth abortion guy. The guy that got caught either in blackface or the Ku Klux Klan outfit. He doesn't know which one. It was told too long ago, but he survived it because he's a Democrat. He's a good team player, and he got through it. So he said his prayers. He's all about social justice now, so he's good. So in that state, right, a new poll came out today, and the guy running against him, Youngkin, this guy is 6'7", he hoops. He's a rich guy, and he is taking a very interesting kind of campaign here. He's focusing on one thing, schools. That is the hottest topic, believe it or not. That is the issue that is going to make or break any campaign nowadays is schools, because schools belong to the people, not the communists. The communists control the schools, but they don't belong to them. They belong to you and I, and they belong to our children, and we pay taxes for them to go there. And obviously the big issues in the schools now, we've seen a few, are you have critical race theory, the infusion of this idea into public schools, that we should teach kids that there are oppressors and oppressed, and that, obviously the white people are the oppressors and they should feel bad about that. And, just instead of just teaching them history, as if we don't already teach them that, slavery was bad, slavery existed. We fought a war over it. There was a civil rights movement. Black people were treated unfairly, like Selma, Birmingham. We go over all this in detail already. But they want to add on to that and be like, well, let's also teach you that we live in a racist society today. That's where they want to go to the next step with critical race theory. Can't be having it. So that's one issue. The other issue in schools is the whole, okay, this week in English class, we're going to be reading, Billy's First Blowjob. What? And these novels are kind of graphic. Like some of them, the ones they were reading in Franklin yesterday, I'm going to try to save that story for this weekend. It's graphic, man. Some of these novels that kids are reading, and we've seen in Worcester, the sex ed curriculum that everyone's opting out of, that Shanel Soucy. By the way, if you live in Worcester, guys, I need you to vote for my girl Shanel, please, on Monday. Do we have Worcester people in the house? I see Kerry. I know she's going to vote for Shanel, and I mean only Shanel. Bullet vote. They let you vote for 6 people out of the 8 candidates? No. Just vote for one. Any vote you vote for her and someone else, you're taking a vote away from her. Only vote for her, because the rest of the people, they'll vote in tickets. They'll vote 5 or 6 people at the same time. They'll all dilute each other's votes. Shanel, only vote for Shanel Soucy if you live in Worcester. If you live in District 1, obviously vote for her and vote for Richard Cipro. If you live in District 5, the other West Side one, vote for Stratman. That's a tougher one, though. We'll see. Okay, so vote out the communists. They need to pay. As you guys know, I ran for school committee in my town in May. It didn't go as planned. It didn't go as planned. I was kind of counting on the Turtleboy aspect of it all to carry the day. But it turns out a lot of people that, had signs for me in their yards, they didn't even vote. They forgot to vote. So that's a problem. I don't do campaigns. I do blogs. I do shows. That's what I do. I'm like a Larry Elder kind of politician. This is my bread and butter. But, I figured I'd give it a go. I'll still run for office again, I'm sure. But, we're seeing a lot of people become active in their communities. And one of the communities that I've written about before many times over the years, I mean, I don't know if I've written about a town more than this town, is Braintree. The nice little town there south of Weymouth in the South Shore. And they've been on it for a variety of issues over the years, but most recently in the last year or so, there's this woman named, you guys remember Kelly Cobb Lamaya? Do you remember this broad? Let me bring her up if you don't recollect who this chick is. She's a real peach. She's a real peach. There she is. So Kelly Cobb Lamaya, she was the one that she posted. She's on the school committee. Yesterday, I made a food pantry delivery to a gentleman I don't normally deliver to. Yeah, I don't normally deliver to. Let me make it the right way. There we go. Who I don't normally deliver to. He had a Veterans for Trump sign in this window, and then he came out with an NRA shirt on, so wishing I believed in getting rewards in some afterlife. So she's shitting on disabled veterans while pretending that she's the good one. And what these people do in their little echo chambers, they're nasty. These people are nasty. They're mean. They're bigoted. And they don't like you. And they think they're better than you. And they think they're smarter than you. They just laugh at you. They're just filthy, dirty cunts. That's all they are. And so this Braintree has a Democratic town committee. And real quick, I'm going to Google some election results by town, Massachusetts. I'm kind of curious to see how Braintree went. WBUR. Let's pull up this big screen. I kind of want to see what kind of town Braintree is politically before I get into that. I should have done this before, but let's see what it's like. I love this little feature that WBUR has. Okay, so this is the state of Massachusetts. And let's check out how Braintree is. Should be right here. Okay, so Braintree is a little lighter blue than the surrounding towns. And they voted, 58% for Biden. That's not too bad. I mean, I'm up here in Holden, where, again, I did not win. Where's Holden? Right here. We're almost the exact. Holden and Braintree are pretty much the same demographic. 58% Biden. So essentially what this, except they have a bigger population. 20,000 people voted in Braintree. In Holden, it was 11 or 12,000. So, we're about 60% of their size. So anyway, that's actually interesting. It is a very similar demographic there. But like I said, you have communists, and that's what I'm calling them because that's what they are. They're communists, like Kelly Cobb Lamaya, and every town has these Democratic town committees. And you guys know that the Holden Democratic Town Committee, they put together a slate. They know how to campaign, and it's not enough for them to just control state rep, governor, all that shit. No. They want the schools more than anything because they know, the communist knows that, like, to breed the next generation of communists, you must control the educational system. And so these people, they've had a monopoly on it for years. And then all of a sudden this summer, because of the mask issue, it became the cool, trendy thing for people like myself and other conservatives to start showing up at meetings, right? And running for school committee. And we've seen that a lot, but we have not seen much success in this state in regards to that. Like, I had a candidate on from Marshfield who lost a close one, another one from Ashburnham that lost a close one. But there's another race going on in Braintree now with the guy named Matt Lynch. And Matt Lynch is running down there, and he's actually, I wouldn't call him, he's a former teacher, which makes this whole thing interesting. You don't see that very often. Hold on. Why is this loud? Hold on. Is there two of these screens open? What the hell's playing right now? Is this in the background somewhere? Hold on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Never mind. I had it open twice. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to bring him on in one sec, but yeah, he's a former teacher and he quit his job in February, and he's also a veteran. And they don't like him because he's against critical race theory. And, I'm sure he aligns with me politically and all this other stuff. They don't like stuff like that. And he's probably going to take shit for coming on the show, but he's a cool guy. I invited him on. He said he'd come on. I appreciate that. So I'm going to bring him on now, and maybe he can explain his situation a little bit better. Where'd he go? Where's Matt? Oh, there he is in the background. Hello, Matt. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me on. You're the first person that's ever compared Holden and Braintree together, though.
Did you look at the numbers though?
I did see those numbers.
That's like exactly the same thing. Have you ever even heard of Holden before?
Until you, absolutely not. I mean,
yeah.
Never heard of that before, but I've never heard Holden and Braintree, but they did a line there.
We're the 6th largest town in central Massachusetts. Okay. We're no joke out here. Largest regional school district. So anyway, but yeah, I think it's interesting talking point because I lost, right? And I live in a liberal, a somewhat liberal town, and Braintree is not that liberal, is it?
No, Braintree's not super liberal. We have kind of the old FDR, JFK Democrat type in there. So that's why I'm excited about this race. Like, I think I can turn those type people to my cause here, because people are starting to get fed up. I mean, even those classical liberals are starting to see like, hey, what's going on in the schools? Because parents are like, hey, we don't have decision making anymore. Something's going on here. So this is the first time where we can have it. And, I grew up in Braintree, went to school in Braintree. I've taught and coached in Braintree for a decade. Braintree's my home. I always loved Braintree. And I have this big following. We have a big name in here. So people are starting to see, like, these people, who are these people taking over our town?
Right. So, all right. So starters first. How many people are on the Braintree School Committee?
So it's currently open for 3. So there's 6 or 7 people on there, and there's 3 spots open. There's 7 people running for 3 spots. And
7 people for 3. That's a tight crowd.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people running in the race. And Kelly Cobb-Lemire there that you were talking about before, her kind of boss, the one that's kind of running her, she's the head of the Democratic committee. You're talking the one in Holden, the same thing in Braintree. They kind of run everything. They get these activists straight out of college, get all these kids to kind of get involved and, behind computers. So this lady, Kathy Tuffy, is actually running. She's kind of the head of them. So she's running against me because once I announced I was running, they kind of got scared and they were like, oh, we have to run her now. And now they're trying to.
See, it's okay. Let's stop right there because that name. I got an email about this woman today, and it turns out I've written about her before. So she was in this blog about. So Kelly Cobb-Lemire and her Mean Girl fan club here. By the way, is she? Is her seat not up for grabs, Kelly?
No, she's on. She's on for 2 more years.
Okay,
so you would have been a fun race for that.
You would potentially be her colleague then.
It would be it'd be so much fun.
And there's 3 open seats. How many total are on the school committee?
So I believe there's 6.
6. Okay.
So, 3.
Okay. So
no, there might be 7.
And one of the is this her? Is this old lady?
Yes. That's
right,
her.
So right away,
Lizzie Warren fan.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to stop right there. Why does anyone this old want to be on the school committee? That's the problem right there.
Well, so I mean, you already know the answer. Like, I'm a threat to that kind of power there, right? I'm this kind of outside source that never has got involved in town politics. I mean, I'd never in a million years thought I'd be running for it. So then I hop in the race and I stand against basically everything they believe in. So now they're getting nervous and like they can't have me on there, even though I'm in it for the right reasons, because just trying to help the kids where they can't have someone like me. And that's why you've kind of seen all this backlash that I've already got from the patch.
Yeah. So let's talk about, we're going to get to that. So first question. So you left teaching in February and you said it was for personal reasons. Do you care to get into that?
Yeah, I can quickly address that. So I went down to January 6th and,
we're going to talk about that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I exercised my First Amendment right, just going down there. And then, that night when I saw the media kind of lying about the whole day again, I mean, you've seen all this stuff. I was like, well, they're lying again. So I threw that picture on Facebook and I knew I had these kind of trolls on my page already. They had already said stuff like 2 months to the school about kind of some stuff that I was posting. So I knew they were on there and I knew it would pick up. And then this guy in town decides to call me a domestic terrorist out of nowhere. He's like, we got a domestic
terrorist. Was that Ed
terrorist.
O'Keefe? Was that his name?
Ed Keefe.
Okay.
So he calls me this domestic terrorist. And that starts spreading throughout all kind of these, leftist Braintree circles. Next thing you know, they're calling my bosses, calling the Braintree police, calling the sheriff's office. Next thing you know, I got the FBI at my house, right?
You had the FBI come to your house.
Yeah. So they came twice. And now I wasn't a part of the investigation. If they get a certain amount of calls, and if they cross a threshold, they have to go investigate it. And these people just kept emailing them and emailing them and emailing them. Like, we didn't do anything wrong that day. We went down to a protest, and obviously some knuckleheads rioted, but we didn't see any of that. We were just outside. And these people, as you know, they go after you. So once that, kind of the FBI showed up my house.
What did the FBI ask you?
They just asked like, hey, about the day. And I mean, I probably shouldn't have said as much, but I just told them the whole day because after the protest, we went into our hotel room first. Like we were up there just hanging out. We were watching people go inside the Capitol from our hotel room. Like, hey, yeah, let's just go check it out. Let's walk down. So when we walked down, we were expecting to see something. It was just kind of people hanging around. I mean, there was thousands. I mean, there was probably 500,000 people there or something that day. And
could you even see? Could you even see the mob that was storming? Were they too far?
No. Well, so it had already happened. Like that stuff was happened. Yeah, so that was going on like earlier in the day. We probably didn't get down to the Capitol like till 3. So we didn't see any of that, but we saw all like, the knuckleheads that are in fatigues all day. They have gas masks. They were walking around. You can see all those people that were walking around. So we saw them a part of the crowd.
Yeah. My question is, how many of those guys were feds?
Yeah. Did you see Tucker's new documentary coming up?
Yeah, people are all mad about it.
Yeah.
People are all mad. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, obviously. I just saw the trailer.
Yeah, so it comes out the first. You look at Beatty and Revolver, they've been all over that. They've been on top of that news for the whole thing where it's just like, dude, yeah, there was a riot. Like those kids, like people, whatever they did, they got in trouble, but they've made it such a bigger deal. And
it seems like it was like obviously, Trump had a lot to do with it, but I've also seen videos of like that guy Epps. Was the name?
Yeah,
the guy was going around being like, "Let's raid him," and then everyone's like, "Nah, dude,
we're not that."
And then he hasn't even been questioned by the feds.
No, not even once. And you saw like there's videos all day running around. It's like, what is that? And like you could see those people because
did you see people like that when you were
down there? Without a doubt. So we could see it like when people were talking, say it was Trump or some of the other speakers, right? They'd make like a case like being like, they don't want to give you like $600 or something like that. Everyone would be like, yeah, that stinks. And people would be like, storm the Capitol. Like you could hear it in the crowd. Like they were conditioning people to kind of get that set up.
Now, let me ask you, why'd you go? Why? Because I mean, I voted for Donald Trump. I didn't go because to me, it was over.
But that election was crazy. Like we're going to have problems after that. Like when they switched it to the 11th hour, that mass mail-in ballot, they kind of rechanged those laws. Like that's going to only lead to disaster. Like that, you were talking about that Youngkin race over there. It doesn't matter who wins. Someone's going to argue it was fake, right? Because like you don't know anymore. It's so easy to do it.
I think Youngkin's going to win by a landslide, so it's not going to.
I hope so.
I think it's going to happen.
I hope so. But every close race, and again, that 2020 election, I mean, completely not free and fair, right?
Do you think it was stolen? Do you think it was stolen?
Yeah, because if you look at
it, in what way?
If you take like those 5 counties and those 5 swing states, they basically they were short margins. Kind of Trump had won it, and then all of a sudden they called it off.
What do you mean Trump? What do you mean Trump?
Well, Trump was ahead of it, right? In each of those states, these swing states, then they started counting.
But those are mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots are going to be heavily Democrat, right?
Of course, but it's very convenient to do that, right? So it's all just 5 counties.
I compared it to like a cock tease, like. And the reason I don't like mail-in balloting, it ruins election night. Like election night was fun. It's just like you count the vote from there, and now it's just like, well, oh yeah, you need a huge lead because now we're gonna dump the mail-ins. I don't think that's. And it's like if you can't get ass out to vote on election day, then I'm sorry. Then you shouldn't be allowed. Then you obviously don't care to vote.
So I agree with that too. It's those mail-ins where even in like Racine, Wisconsin today, like a sheriff's department came out and said like, yeah, hey, we found cheating in the nursing homes. They were fixing the ballots, right? So even it's like, all right, well, is it enough to change it? That's the question. But it's still like, you don't cheat to lose, right? So that's kind of where you get on it. Where if just 5 states, five counties.
I don't like sounding like a cunt. That's my whole thing. I mocked the left for 4 years for Russia, and blaming the election. And and I don't like it when, I'm a Patriots fan. How many times have we won games and then the other team's fans have said, oh, yeah, Belichick cheated, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, I told myself I would never be that guy.
But what I got out of it, it's like, we don't have any say, even if like, say if, all right, he 100% there was cheating, like we wouldn't be able to find out. We don't have a system in place to ever audit an election realistically. Right. So even it doesn't matter which side, if they did it, we wouldn't be able to find that out because the whole system, it's like, you only have a certain time, like, oh, it goes to a court case. You wouldn't be able to find out. I just have the big problem with at the last, the last minute, they changed it to mass mail-in ballot. Right, it was 2000.
Well, they used COVID, and they're gonna.
But it was like what Jimmy Carter put something out in like 2006. They did like a big study, and they were like, mass mail-in ballot is the easiest way to cheat. Like there was
Oh, for sure.
And,
yeah, I mean,
and then it's just like, but in 2016, like, all right, Trump. Well, no, now it's safe. It's like, dude, you trust the
so the
post
question
office?
is like, are you? I mean, do you want Trump to run again?
I don't know. I'm kind of leaning more towards DeSantis. And that was the big thing about it. It's not about Trump. He was just the vessel we needed to kind of move the country forward in the right direction. Like we knew this was going to happen the past 8 months. You look what's going on.
It's well, like, it's interesting.
We can all see it.
Youngkin specifically was like, "Don't come here, dude. Like I got this," and that's interesting because I think he's going to win. Like Trump can only hurt him. Like he's getting his message across just by talking about the most important things
issues
that parents want to talk about, and that is schools, and that is what you're running for.
And that's Trump's biggest fault. He is that he's a narcissist. He has to talk about himself rather than the issue.
Exactly. So why do you want to run? What motivated you to run for school committee?
So that's a big thing. Is as I said, I grew up in Braintree. Like Braintree public schools are great. They still are great. Like and this is where it's like I kind of have like an opportunity to do something different because like some of my good friends still work in the schools. Like I know how good these schools can run if they have the right mission. But our mission has just changed, and it doesn't just go back like the last 2 years from the start of COVID. You could see it happening like a decade ago, where the Obama administration started, kind of changing the culture and using the schools to kind of put that culture in there. And a perfect example is it from where we lead today, where back in like 2010, 2011, you remember like the ban the R word campaign? Did you remember that stuff? They were like, hey, we can't say the R word anymore. And it's like they'd use schools to do it. And of course, like, yeah, if you're making fun of a kid with special needs, I probably deserve a slap in the face. But it was the first time I noticed it was like they demonized the other side. All right, we're banning this word, but if someone uses it, they're the bad guy. And I was like, well, it's still just a word. You can't do it. And then you start moving forward. Like then you get like our climate stuff. They put Greta Thunberg stuff in there. If you don't believe that, you're a climate denier.
How long were you a teacher, by the way?
So I was a para teacher starting in. So I started as a para and a coach in 2010. And then I did a break. And then I did a break for the military, like three and a half years.
Oh, you did?
And then as a teacher, so for the Air Force. And then
what were you teaching when you came back?
So I was a history major. So I have a history license, and then I did moderate special ed. So, I kind of worked with kind of behavioral kids and learning disabilities, which I loved. It was an awesome job. I would love to do it for the rest of my life.
At Braintree High School.
Yeah. I mean, I love Braintree High School.
And you were there for how many years?
A decade. I'd probably say
but you had a 3 or 4 year break in there.
Yeah. I had a little break for basic, and I went to Germany for over like a year and a half.
How old are you?
35.
Okay, and that's a little late to join the Army, isn't it? I
mean, so I joined when I was 27. I was like, I don't want to pay for grad school, so I was like, let's get some stuff on it. But it was actually been an awesome job because I was an intel analyst, so I got to do some actually cool stuff over there and actually kind of see the world in a different way.
That's cool.
Which is where, and as I said, in the Air Force, I worked kind of with people operating systems, weapon systems, radical ideologies. So then when I get back, like you start noticing things like, hey, what's kind of going on in these schools? And you were talking about it after the critical race thing, where I figured that out a couple of years ago, but the one thing that got me first was that kind of the gender stuff. Where I had a student one time. They were like, I mean, this was a young kid. Like, obviously, not going to talk any names or anything like that. And this kid really could barely read. Wasn't that smart? And felt bad. Had a lot of issues and stuff. Sweet kid. But one day she went to that class, and then next thing, hey, we're changing the name. I'm like, what? What do you mean you're changing the name? Like, I got to talk to the parents, like, or talk to grandma and figure this out. And they were like, no. And it was the first time I read state like literature that said, if a kid wants to change their name or do an agenda thing and they're afraid to tell their parents, like you don't tell the parents. I was like, bullshit. Like, I'm not. Yeah. And I was like, I was just thinking in my mind, I'm like, if that was any of like my friends, my kids, like that have kids, I was like, they're hiding that from them. And this was years ago when I was like, what's going on? So that's kind of what started me to start actually looking into this stuff. And then the more you look, obviously, the more and more you see where it just comes out to be there's an agenda. And it's not where, how the CRT, they're like, well, look at the curriculum. It's here. It's the culture. Like we're building this culture of like, hey, everyone knows from everyone gets a trophy. I mean, we care more about offending people than actually being great and educating these kids to be like self-sufficient people. And you can see this agenda. It's like, where are we going with this? Like, yeah, it might sound good when you're young, like, hey, we're in this together, we're doing it. But when you turn 18, like, you ready for the world?
I mean, so I got out of teaching. I was a history teacher too for 11 years. I got out in 2014, And I tell people that I got out just the right time because I got out before Trump, like right before Trump. And like the transgender thing was not an issue. I swear to God, no one was transgender 8 years ago. Like nobody. And now everyone is. It's like become the cool thing.
Because I was gonna say it's a hobby almost.
Yeah, I literally did a story today on a mother from Melrose who basically has become this like she makes money pimping out her kid. Her kid was born a girl and transited when she born a girl when she was 3. She said she was a boy, and the mother, instead of being like, relax, it's okay, it was just like, oh yeah, you're a boy, and legitimized it. And now the mother has a second daughter who's non-binary. I mean, what are the odds that it seems like these kids always come from activist homes. Always.
And that's the biggest part where I talk about the culture, right? Because I mean, these activists, these progressives, same one that are after me, and they're going to continue. Like, they're activists, and they're activists first, rather than being like, hey, what's best for the kid or what's best for them. Well, no, it's our ideology. We have to make sure we put this, and we have to reassure this. It's like, what are you doing? You're confusing kids. I mean, I think it was like Thomas Sowell. He's like, the most dishonorable thing to do is miseducate kids. Like, are we miseducating kids? Now, people can tell me I'm wrong. I'm fine with that. But let's talk about this as adults. Let's stop not just be like, hey, we're putting this stuff on kids. This is what we're doing. Because, I mean, everyone knows academia is to the left anyways. And it's not like that's fine. Like, I have no problem with classical liberalism. I don't think liberals fight for it anymore. But if you look at it, it's like, where are we going with this? Like, in 10 years, where are these kids going to be? Are they going to be able to, take care of themselves? Are they going to be able to do all these things? Or are they going to have, depression after all this stuff? I don't really see it going in a better direction.
So I want to get to the controversy part here. So those are the issues, obviously, that matter. But this is what they've been attacking. All of a sudden, it happened in the last week. So this is the post. This, of course, is this a reason? I mean, your post is obviously old. It's a screenshot of that.
So that's the original post. That was the original post that started the whole thing.
When did
so that was like January 10th or something. January.
So this post from Ed Keefe is on January 10th.
Yeah, like around that. Okay. I would say like a few days, a week after January 6th.
This must have had something to do with the fact that you're no longer a teacher. It must have.
Oh, of course. Well, as I said, like once it first happened, and I'll give the administration and Braintree and my bosses and all that stuff, I'll give them credit. They didn't back down. They said it, they could keep me, but so I was like, wow. And like, I was very thankful to him. Like I left on good terms with people. And I mean, I know, I mean, I'm not a perfect point. I definitely let some students down. I let some coworkers down and some friends. Like I can admit that. But when you get the feds knocking on your door, you have to, your spidey senses kind of kick in. It's like, all right, hey, we got to rethink it because these people don't stop. You know that more than anyone. Like, they're not going to be like, oh, well, the administration said, yeah, he's good. No, they'll come find me for something now. They won't stop until I'm gone. Whereas it's like demonic in a way, the way they do it. It's like,
I mean, let me just read
what this guy hate us.
This guy Ed Keefe Jr. says, just the language, and I said this at a school committee meeting a few months ago, is just the otherisms, the way they treat you now, like as if you're subhuman. Yeah, and this is what he writes about you. We have a homegrown terrorist in our community, and he's a Braintree High School teacher, a terrorist. You didn't blow anyone up. You didn't kill anyone. You didn't hurt anyone. Imagine this guy being responsible for the education of our children. Now, juxtapose this with any teacher that went down to the Women's March after Donald Trump got elected, which was basically the same thing. It was a hissy fit about the election results. And that's kind of what I call this. This is what this January 6th was. It was a hissy fit about election results. You don't seem to be breaking any laws. Like you're in the back of a crowd taking a selfie there. You say, I suggest everyone send an email to the school superintendent. So they tried to cancel you. Yeah. They stood by you. And he wasn't wearing a mask. Oh, Jesus Christ.
So I mean, my buddies are good. They always jump in, and I had one jump in and be like, hey, I think the FBI got him for not wearing a mask.
Who's this? Who's Emma Rutan? A message from Better Braintree Community. Hi, everyone. Since there has been a deafening silence on the end of Braintree High School in addressing Matthew Lynch, the BHS teacher who attended the insurrection in D.C., we believe it would be appropriate to send a follow-up email and CC to the FBI and the sheriff's office. The FBI is actively seeking the tips. Oh, God, these people. People.
I mean, how is that not modern like Bolsheviks, right? Like, They get a little propaganda and like, hey, let's go after this person, rat him out.
That's why I call them communists.
It ruined my entire life, And the thing is, I actually told one of my bosses a couple months before, I was like, hey, this is going to be my last year because so much is going on in the schools. And I told, actually, when I resigned, I told my boss, I was like, I'm going to run for school committee because like I love Braintree schools. Like I don't want to see them fail. In public schools right now, you look what's going in the next 5-10 years. If they keep following this route, people are just going to stop sending them there.
Yeah.
If they're not going to listen to parents and stuff, like I don't want that to happen at Braintree High School. Like they have awesome teachers, they have an awesome administration.
Me too. Yeah.
But they just have the wrong mission. Like look at the school board, right? So they locked the kids out of school. They gave them the remote learning. We created a ton of trauma. Our school board, three things they did. They got rid of our mascot. They changed the colors of the gowns. And they changed the word housemaster to vice principal.
Oh, so that was one of the things Kelly Cobbler-Meyer was all about. Was your school mascot is the Womps, which is a nickname for the Wampanoag tribe, and that's an unpopular move even amongst liberals, right?
Yeah, all us Braintree kids, like we've rallied around the Womp. Like it was always our mascot. Like every generation, and they have their different traditions, all that stuff. But it was under the Womp, and it's just destroying history. Like they got some like Native American who's like said he was offensive by it. Could be. I've never talked to the guy. I'd definitely be open to listen to him. But they're just doing it to destroy history. Like if you get rid of the Womp in 100 years from now in Braintree, you think anybody in Braintree will ever know who the Womp is? Of course not. They pretend it's like, oh, it's offensive. We care. It's like, but you're just destroying history. You're rewriting it. And now the Womp isn't like, it's one of the things I want, but that's not like the most important issue I care about. Like that will be something we'll deal with if I got elected in like 2 years or something. We have a lot of stuff to fix with, but by just make Braintree Womps again, it was so easy to bring these guys out, right? These progressives, all he had to do was make this, that slogan. Antifa showed up at my rally on Saturday where we held signs. And then you got the hit piece on Tuesday. Then you got the hit piece on Tuesday. It's like clockwork with these people. It's not really hard to understand.
I've highlighted this one up here. This is the woman running against you.
Yeah. She's telling me to go to the FBI. She wants me dead.
Okay, so time out. Let me just you're more politically correct for me, and that's fine. You have to be because you're running for office.
I'm not really happy.
She's a cunt. Okay, she is an evil, stupid waste of space. Okay, and the fact that anyone this woman's old. Why the fuck are you running for office, lady? You have no kids in the schools. What do you care besides the fact that your people have to control everything? Like call up the fucking FBI. These are the same people, by the way, who for months before this were telling us, oh, we have to, we put too many people in jail. The criminal justice system is too harsh on people. We need to build less jails. Now send everyone to jail who is at this fucking place. Like
if I just took a picture smiling, like they literally, like they keep pretending they want to care and they care about all this stuff. It's like, dude, you have no problem destroying my life and sending me to jail. Like, and I'm somehow the bad guy out of all this. People are like, oh yeah, he's mean to it. It's like, are you serious? Like you're calling the FBI on me for a picture. Now, again, if I went into the Capitol and I was rioting, like, yeah, maybe you have some say on that. I simply just took a picture that day, and I'm this evil villain that they created out to be. And they have no problem using the press. Like that patch piece, like, come on, wait, like, did you get anything out of it? Everybody knows what's going on.
Actually, let's go to that. I want to go to that now. I'm going to go to the patch piece. Actually, there are more pictures on here. These are wild. Okay, so I've seen most of these. So let me go to the patch piece now. And we'll pull it up, and I want to read part of this because this guy. So the patch isn't a real media outlet.
No, and that's what we have to do. This kid, Jimmy Bentley, wrote it. From now on in Braintree, we'll call him activist Jimmy Bentley.
Who is this guy? He looks like such a goober.
Dude, I've never met him before. He's definitely not a Braintree kid, and he has just no problem with it. And you see the emails I kind of exchanged with him? I was like, hey, let's meet Wednesday. Like I would have gave him the whole story. Like I got no problem telling my story.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at he's got the pen in his thing. He's a notebook. He's a serious reporter, guys. He writes things down. Serious
guy. And I told him, I was like, come meet me and I'll give him the whole story. And I gave him the stuff I gave you. I was like, hey, this is what happened that day. And he had a story written where and I think he's friends with the whole kind of Democrat Party over in there.
Well, he works for the media.
Yeah, I mean, they're in it where he had a story written. Like I could have gave that guy a pretty cool story of like kind of what happened, especially like my story over this. Of like, hey, kind of got canceled, and now I'm running for school committee. Yeah, like, I might be the wrong person for it, but I'm in it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like, I actually do. I do
Yeah,
care about the kids. Like you talk to like some of my former players, former students, they'd be like, yeah, Mr. Lynch, we had his back on that. Like I wasn't the best teacher by far, like shitty lesson planner. But dude, I was very good. When I had kids in front of me, I could build up confidence in those kids and I could build them up.
How old are you now? How old are you?
35.
30. Okay.
35,
and you graduated Braintree what? 04?
05.
Okay. So you know my buddy Chris O'Day then.
Yeah, Chris. I went on his podcast. I actually when they first came after me, Chris has that podcast, The Bottom of the Cooler. So that's how I got my story out first. Like, hey, they're calling me this. So I actually gave the whole rundown on that story. So he let me on there.
I think I saw a couple people in the comments already saying like referring to you as Mr. Lynch. I'm assuming they're former students. I'm guessing there's a lot of Braintree people in here. So if you ever had a teacher, Adam as a teacher, feel free to chime in with your comments. We can, read those as we go along. And anyway, so let's read this patch article real quick. Part of this. So the timing is interesting. You didn't just announce you were running for office. They could have written this whenever they wanted. They chose this week. So he goes, a candidate for Braintree School Committee and a former teacher said he's been visited twice by the FBI since participating in the January 6th rally in support. So participating, they make it seem that turned violent as some attendees stormed the Capitol. That's so misleading, that whole paragraph. Then he goes,
insinuating I'm like a terrorist. Right. It's ridiculous.
Right. It's just like, what does it matter if it turned violent if you did not participate in the violence? Like what? That's like saying that like, oh, a candidate who is running for office participated in the Black Lives Matter protests that turned violent later on. They did not do it, but that's like how you start your opening paragraph. It's obviously,
it's very biased. Easy to see. It's JV level type stuff.
Right. Matt Lynch resigned from his teaching position in February. He's been a teacher in the district for about 10 years. In an email exchange with the patch, he confirmed he had been questioned by the FBI, which left. Okay, this is just patently false. Patently false.
They're all Trump supporters.
Which left 5 people dead and injured at least 130. It did not leave 5 people dead. That is a lie. It left 1 person dead. Her name was Ashley Babbitt. She was shot in close range, unarmed. Okay. Whether or not you want to argue that was justified, whatever. She's the only person who died that day. And that's undeniable at this point. Undeniable. So these people, and ironically, they call what you guys were standing for the big lie. And they're just repeating this lie that has been proven to be a lie over and over and over again. So that is just, it sets the stage. It makes you seem like you participated in something which 5 innocent people got killed. He did not elaborate on the nature of the interviews and did not respond when asked if he was a target of an FBI investigation. Good luck with your article. Hope you don't print false information, he said in response to an email.
I did say that. At least they quoted me on that.
Why not just tell them? Why not just say no?
To who? To this kid? No, I told him, I was like, hey, let's meet on Wednesday in person so I can give you the story. Like, I'm not going to do this through email. Like, it's a pretty important story, right? People need to know this. Like, I think voters should have every right to ask me questions on this, right? So people should be like, hey, you want to know? I'm an open book. This is where it's going to be different. Like, I'm an honest guy. I mean, I'm a flawed guy, but I'm certainly honest. I would have given the entire story. But no, they had their story written, and he was like, we can't meet Wednesday. The language he used in it too, he's like, my editor's demanding it, and I need these answers. Like, who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah, editor, like that. You work for the patch.
I was gonna say, who are these people? Like, what gives them the right? Oh, we're the media? No, they're activists.
There's no way this is a full-time job for him. What do you mean, my editor? Tell your editor pound sand. You get paid $5.
Seriously. Dude, and you're sitting on a good story, man. Imagine if I gave him the story and I told him like the whole day and went through it. It'd be like, hey, school committee, man, this is what happened, and all like the whole story.
No, he's not
a pretty cool story. No, of course not. You can tell right away.
The FBI declined to comment on Lynch, probably because nothing happened. The agency typically does not comment on active investigations. So basically, by adding in that, he's making it seem like this is still ongoing. This guy is still on their radar because they can't comment on it.
No, but that's the thing too, is now all they have to do is go keep pushing to it. Eventually, I'm sure they'll come arrest me now. Like, oh, yeah, we found something.
Do you have his phone number?
This kid's?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Can you message it to me? I want to call him.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him right now. I'm going to say, what is up with the shitty job you did, my man? This is disgusting.
Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
So let me keep reading that while you're doing that. He goes on to say, following the riot, a picture of Lynch in front of the Capitol was shared on social media. Members of a community Facebook groups called A Better Braintree took screenshots and shared the photos. Some posts in the group also shared the tip line to investigate violence at the riot. It is unclear the extent of his involvement in the January 6th rally and if he was among those who breached the Capitol. What do you mean it's unclear the extent? It sounds like it's unclear if you murdered multiple people.
And it's like, why are they doing that now? Like, oh yeah, could have mentioned this. These people called me out 8-9 months ago. Everybody in town knew it.
Did he miss the news that like hundreds of people have been arrested for this? Like if you went into that building, you'd be in jail by now. Like you would know. A smart reporter would know that, but people who work for something called the Patch obviously aren't
that number
smart. Okay,
on, Facebook Messenger.
Okay, okay, gotta memorize it. Okay, I'm gonna call him. All right. Let me just give him a buzz.
I hope he answers.
We'll find out. Here we go. He's probably watching right now. He knows I'm calling. Damn it.
Dude, if I knew that, I'd still answer and hop in, right?
I know. It would be fun, but he's obviously a coward. He's a coward. He's a coward.
It would definitely.
I mean, it'd be free publicity. No one's ever heard of you before, Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy?
Please leave your message for 77.
Oh, come on. Okay, I'm going to leave a message. Hey, Jimmy, it's Aidan Kearney from Turtleboysports.com. I'm sitting here with Matt Lynch. He's a candidate.
What's up, Jimmy?
Hey, what's happening? He says hello. He's a candidate for school committee in Braintree. We were just reading your article, having a good laugh over it, how poorly it was done. We'd like to interview you, actually, because it's clear that you are an activist. You printed blatantly false information here about 5 people dying during the riots. That's just patently untrue. We're going to see if you'd like to maybe apologize for that, maybe just admit that you're not a real journalist, anything like that. I figured, I'd have you on because no one knows who you are. No one's you're irrelevant. Maybe having you on here, people will at least talk about you a little bit, but I guess you're just too much of a coward, man. If if you want to sack up and actually have a conversation, feel free to do that. All right. Give me a call, buddy. Love you. Bye.
All right, I love the love here at the end. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta kill him with kindness. So, yeah, he went on and he says, unfortunately, the times change and situations evolve. Yeah, so basically, you were just like, you were pretty diplomatic about it. I'm gonna be honest. Like most people that I associate going to this thing aren't like you. They're like Diana Plus types. They're nut job. Do you know who Diana Plus is?
No, who's that?
She's a lunatic. Google her. So those are the only people I know that like really went to this. They're a bit much for me.
And here's the thing: is like, dude, it was a great day. Like we had a fun time. It was the first time out. Like I always loved being in big crowds. It was a huge crowd. We had some speakers. Like again, we knew nothing was going to happen. But I mean, to me, like Trump was like the biggest whistleblower. It's like Trump's not like any god. Like we know that. Like we're not like religious to any of them. But to me, he was like a whistleblower that woke people up. Like, hey, there's some other stuff going on. Maybe you should stop paying attention to what's happening in politics in the world. And he did that for me. So that's why I liked him for it. So I was like, hey, I'll go see him speak. And then, as I said, we were in our room and we're watching people go in the Capitol. We're laughing because they're still going through they're in between the railings and stuff, walking through. We're like, oh, it just must be they must be letting people in. And then we go down there, we don't see anything. And then we get news someone got shot in there. And then you see all these people being like, oh, I was in there, I saw it. And we probably heard like 3 different stories from 3 different people about like what happened in there. All 3 of them are lies. It's like, who's putting this stuff out there,
Yeah. By the way, I just want to thank our sponsors, people who donated real quick. Take a minute. Who says, this one is from L. He says, should I be Brett for Halloween? That would be fucking awesome if you were Brett for Halloween. Next one we have from Jim. He says, keep up the excellent work, Unc. Thank you. I will do that very much, Jim, for the dono. Also, next we have from $25 from Gregory. He says, please talk about the other Braintree school race. Flaherty has to go. Need your help with Braintree. Thank you, a Braintree vet. I believe Flaherty is one of those people that I highlighted, one of the mean old Golden Girls whose ads all over the patch. I believe we're looking at it right now. So I assume she's a communist. She's running for what, town council or something?
Yeah, so she's in the District 1, and it's a
Okay.
big race. It's like Jody Waller for Killer for Waller as like she's our candidate. Like I'm going to vote for her. Actually, it's kind of funny because nobody paid attention to local politics. It's on us. Like everything that's happening on the world, it's our fault. Like
you're right. You're right.
We did this. So like everyone's kind of getting involved. They're like, hey, what district am I? What district am I? And it's like, yeah, like we don't know. But this District 1 is a kind of a big race to see where we're going. So if Jody wins, she'd win. Because I think Flaherty was like, hey, get those flags off the truck and stuff like that. The blue line flags. It's like, what?
Yeah. Like, she was one of those?
Yeah. So like, they hate the cops. But then Jimmy Bentley's like, 138 police were injured. We care. It's like, you care about Capitol Police.
Now
but you don't care about the police that protect us. Like they get the Praetorian Guard up there and like we get no protection. It's like, come on.
Yeah. So here's another one. People said $5 is from Michelle. She says for Joe Amico, PBD school committee member, who says that the good kids are vaccinated. I'm doing a story on this tomorrow. This guy actually says it on tape at a school committee meeting that the good kids are the ones who got vaccinated. So that's a different story. I mean, the school committees are out of control.
Yeah.
We have another one.
And the thing is, like our school committee, like in our town, it's not bad. It's just it's the activism that's like the problem. Like, and I'm not telling you, like, all right, activism is bad. Like, you're not wrong. Like a lot of the grievances, like the left they bring up, it's like you're not wrong about those, but you just need to like kind of shut up for a sec. Like let us adults kind of go in and try to fix things give us a year to start moving in the right direction. Where this is why like I'm so excited about it because I have good relationships with the people that work in Braintree. Like. I just want to cut their hands loose so they can go back and doing their jobs again. Where, hey, remove this stuff where we give them the mission where, like, superintendent, right? He's battalion commander. They're going to run the day-to-day. We're not going to interfere with you guys, and we're not going to do that, but we're going to give you the right mission. Like, hey, you need to be doing this, and it comes from the school committee. Like, we're the generals. But if we're woke generals, we're going to get 13 Marines killed over in Afghanistan. And if we keep doing that with the school committee, like kids aren't going to progress and it's going to get worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a black pill guy, but like anyone that thinks like we're going in the right direction is like, I don't know where you're looking at. Maybe send me some of your stuff. I'll read it.
Okay. And also thank you to, this is from Laura. She says, Aidan for president. Thank you very much, Laura. And we also have one from Chrissy, says, just for keeping it real. I appreciate that, Chrissy. Thank you very much. I appreciate the donos to all the people who donate. Oh, we got another one here from Bridget. Bridget donates 20 and she says, thank you for all your great stories. Well, it is my pleasure. I'm glad to help out. Are you new to Turtleboy?
No, I started following you like a decade ago. Like, I mean, I caught onto your page of this stuff. Now, again, I haven't read your book. My buddy gave it to me though. And he's like, you got to read it. And so I know the story about how you were a teacher. But I put earlier, it was very easy to see. Like you're the first person that started going back at cancel culture with the way they use it. And it's and like I put that Orwell quote up. It's like they hate the people when a society drifts from the truth. They hate the people that speak it. You speak it. Nobody wants to hear that because you're calling out the people that aren't supposed to be called out. And then everybody comes after you. They have the whole system. And it's like, yeah, you're not doing this like, because you're just, an asshole. I want to do this. Like you're fighting the fight that needs to happen. And people don't want to do it because look what happens. They come after you. They go after your job. They go after your life. And they'll try to do everything they can to stop you from talking. Like they hate the First Amendment for people that talk against them. And you've been doing it for years. It's been so easy to see. So I appreciate all your work. I mean, you're the person. I was going to say, you're the person in like 10 years, if we get through this, you look back and you're like, hey, he was the original patriot that stepped up and started doing the work that needed to be done.
I completely agree with everything you're saying right now. 100% agree, just for the record. So appreciate that. But all right, does anybody have any questions for Matt? What do you like your I don't follow Braintree politics. What are your chances? What are the polls looking like?
So I actually like my chances like a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Like my name's a big.
You got a campaign team? You got a campaign team?
Yeah. So actually, my campaign team, like I would say, a kid running for student council has a better campaign than I have going. Like all I've been doing is kind of following the information. So I know all the issues. I know all the stuff going on. I've been following that. I haven't been really working on kind of getting out the name, but I just kind of word of mouth because I know a ton of people. I have a very very big crew because just from coaching, teaching, growing up here. So spreading word of mouth, but people come up to me like, hey, we're doing a science today. I'm like, probably we should. They were like, well, why the hell are you? Like, I don't know. I've never ran a campaign before. But I do like my chances because people can see like all this just happened. Like on Tuesday, so they're bringing up the January 6th again. On Saturday, we have Antifa. So people who like I've grown up with that like know that disagree with me politically and they don't agree with that stuff, but like know me as a person, like, Maddie Lynch ain't that. Like, that's not where we're going with it. Like, how the hell are these people saying this? So it's getting them to kind of start wake up and be like, hey, maybe there is something going on that's bigger. Because again, it's not the liberals for it. It's just it's the progressives. It's the leftists that just try to kill everyone that does it.
And people get to vote for 3 candidates. Do you want them to bullet? Do you want them to bullet vote you just for you? Yes, you do.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, trust me. I
made about politics.
I made that. Yes, I made that mistake in my election. So I said, just, I go vote for me and the 2 other guys, because I thought I was so cocky. I was like, I'm a shoo-in. I'm going to win. I want these guys to get in too. Well, I ended up getting 5th, and one of the guys who I urged people to vote for beat me by like 10 votes. And then there was a vacancy that opened up,
victory.
And we both lost, but a vacancy opened up like a week later, and by whatever, he's 4th place. He gets it. I'm like, what the fucker? Yeah, but I like it. So I'm happy he got done. So
and that's the thing is too. It's like, dude, I'm not the guy that runs this political career. I'm like going to be president 30 years. That's not it. I want to get in 4 years just to put the brakes on in this train before it goes over, so people can start seeing what's going on and be like, hey, like, I'm not saying I have all the answers, but like, we're not going in the right direction. Like, let's just ask, like, hey, what are we teaching our kids? And let's give another voice, like the other side of it. And it shouldn't be happening with kids. It should be happening with adults. Like, the culture war is happening. So I hope in Braintree, like, I have the Facebook page is public. I don't care who comes on there. We'll say whatever we want. Like, let's talk about it as adults. And then we can, in a year from now, like, all right, we figured all this stuff out, got through it, and like, all right, now this is which way we're going with it. And like, give them a curriculum or give them a way that is good for everybody. But we have to talk about it as adults. It's unfair to put it on kids, because that's what we're doing. Like, these kids, I feel so bad for, like, if they took our sports away, I mean, like, we would have burned the town down BLM style if they took our sports away when we were in high school. Like, they just took everything away. And now it's like, all right, well, we're not getting back. And
one of the biggest stories I ever did was about Braintree about 4 years ago. They did take your sports away. You had a state championship coach, a girls basketball coach, who was canceled by 3 parents who didn't like the fact that their kids didn't get enough playing time on the state championship team. Do you remember that story? Her name was Kelly McDonald, I think her name was. They literally drove her out of town. And then I published all the emails, and they ended up rehiring her. But
it's just crazy like that. Like, when we played, if like my parents ever like said anything to the coach, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Don't you ever say anything like that? Like, you're embarrassing me. But now it's like, oh, throw email in. It's emails. You can always email. So it's so easy to get your point across by emailing from the safety of a computer rather than actually going to talk to someone.
Do you have a thing we could donate to your campaign if people want to? People are asking.
Yeah. So I have a PayPal. There's a Venmo you can do to Michael-Lynch-554 on that.
How do you? What do you people write? $? How does Venmo work? I never even use it. $?
So no, it's Michael. What? Ad sign, I think it is.
What is it? At sign?
At sign, yeah.
Okay. At sign Michael what?
Michael-Lynch-554 to the Venmo there. And it said, like, we'll take donations. The signs cost, like, I think $1,700. That's really all I really put into the campaign. I don't really.
So are you doing flyers door to door?
So I'm basically just kind of
robocalls.
It's word of mouth. As I said, my campaign is like a student council campaign.
Okay, can I give you advice? Do the robocalls.
Definitely, I'll take all the advice. What's robocalls?
Okay. Damn it.
Like, anybody who reaches out to me, I say, like, hey, let's meet, let's get coffee. I'll go talk to anyone, anywhere.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it. You gotta do the robocall. So how I got beat was the Democratic Town Committee. They did a robocall 2 days before the election. I don't know what they said on the robocall, but it was specifically targeted towards people who have voted in the past, because they keep track of all this stuff. I have a huge database of all registered voters at Holden, who's voted X amount of times, like how likely they are to vote Democrat, stuff like that. And the town committee just identifies 5,000 of them, does a robocall to all of them, probably costs them a few $100. And I don't know what they said on the robocall, but I'm sure it was something to the extent of, Trump is coming to town. You need to get to votes on, and you need to vote for these 3 people. because they had almost the exact same amount of votes, the 3 women that ran. Like, and they
So they
didn't
got
campaign
those.
at all.
Yeah.
I'm everywhere in town.
Yeah.
You drive
Yeah.
through Holden, you see my signs everywhere. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is gonna be a fucking landslide. It's gonna be awesome. I got my ass kicked. So
As I said,
robocalls matter.
We don't know. Like, I mean, I want to win because, like, I truly believe if I win, like, and you know, there's some people on there we can work with and we can get stuff done, like, in the right direction, like do the hard work I want that. But if I lost, dude, my life would be so much easier, wouldn't it? I wouldn't have to deal with all this, you know, terrorist stuff. But like, I mean, but as I said, like, I really want to win. Like, I'm in it for the right reasons. Most people, I'm like, I don't want to be a politician. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to make money. It's just like, I truly care about Braintree schools. I always have. Love them. The Braintree teachers are awesome. Braintree administration's awesome. We just need to get back to the mission that they were doing before. And I mean, people all over the state or come from the city, they move to Braintree. That's why my parents moved to Braintree. They know the schools. So let's keep our schools running that way. Because as long as our school system running, we're going to have a great town. And we have the total force there. We just got to give them that right mission. And it comes from the school board, right? We need real leaders, not activists.
It's cool. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate that. Best of luck with your final push there. We'll be watching on Tuesday night to see how you do.
All right. Thanks, Aidan. I appreciate it for this. That's awesome. Keep up the good work.
Sounds good, man. I'll talk to you. All right. So he's a good guest. If you live in Braintree, get out there and vote for him. Don't forget to vote. And I'm sure no matter what town you live in, you should be there's going to be something on the ballot in your town on Monday. So start voting in these little things. People think these little local elections don't matter that much, but they matter more than you realize. Like, who's on your board of health? It turns out they control your life. Like, we saw that with COVID. So, all right. So I guess we're going to call it a night then, guys. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you all for the donos. I really appreciate it. All the people that came through. I got one on from Christopher. Another dono says, thanks for having Matt on and for being the only other fan of my track career. Oh, that's from Chris O'Day, besides myself. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. So, all right, cool. All right. Oh, we got a couple more donos here. We got another one from Jay. I just want to give a shout out to all of them. He says, good stuff. He donates $10. Appreciate that, Jay. Got another one here from Kathy. Says, good show. Thank you very much, Kathy. $10. We got another one from Jay. Says, thank you. You're welcome, Jay. We got another one from Tyrone. He donates $9. He says, thanks for exposing Monica Cannon Grant. It is my pleasure, sir. Thank you. And another one from Jay saying, good stuff. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. So, all right, guys, we will call it a night then, and we will see you guys all on Saturday night for the next episode of Turtleboy Live. Peace, Turtle Riders.